There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheryl Swoopes made a huge mistake, and now she's paying the price. But one simple move by Kelsey Mitchell shut it all down.
What's up, everybody? Kelsey Mitchell here, and I'm a Fever girl again. So to my fans, to the basketball world, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. Indy's been good to me, and hopefully I could pour in and give the same. So here's to being a Fever girl.
Swoopes, with no facts to back her up, spread rumors about locker room tensions and tried to downplay Clark's impact on the league.
Personally, here's where I think they did do a very good job, and that was with Kelsey Mitchell, who's an unrestricted free agent, because Kelsey Mitchell had a hell of a season this season, and I don't think she got the credit that she...
But when Mitchell re-signed with the Fever, it completely dismantled everything Swoopes had said. Let's talk about what really went down. Swoopes, who's a Hall of Famer and widely respected, took to Gilbert Arenas' podcast and tried to claim that there was drama in the Fever locker room. She hinted that some of their most important players didn't want to be there. The implication was clear. There were unhappy players on the team, and something was wrong behind the scenes. But Kelsey Mitchell, one of the key players on the Fever, completely flipped the script. Here's where things get even more interesting. Mitchell could have gone anywhere. Free agency was buzzing, and she had options. But she didn't just stay because she had no choice. She stayed because she wanted to. She chose to stay with the Fever because she believes in the team, the culture, and the direction they're heading in. It was proof that the Fever weren't the dysfunctional team Swoopes tried to paint them as. Now let's turn the focus to Caitlin Clark. Swoopes didn't stop with Mitchell. She also went after Clark, claiming that Clark had an unfair advantage in college because she played for 5 years. But here's the kicker. Clark only played 4 years, just like every other player before her. Swoopes' argument was completely flawed from the start. Even if Clark had played 5 years, how does that take away from what she accomplished? Clark's records and impact on the game speak for themselves. But Swoopes didn't stop there. She also tried to downplay Clark's success in the WNBA, claiming that Clark was struggling. Struggling? The same Clark who was the first rookie in nearly 2 decades to make the All-WNBA first team. The same Clark who set 62 records in her rookie year. The same Clark who led all rookies in points, assists, and overall impact. That's struggling. If that's what Swoopes considers struggling, then the bar for success in the league has clearly been set way too high for everyone else. Clark's rookie year wasn't just good, it was historic. This kind of old-school thinking is what holds back progress in women's basketball. Some old players, like Swoopes, see the success of young players like Clark and feel threatened. Instead of celebrating the rise of a new generation, they act as though Clark's success diminishes their own accomplishments. For years, the WNBA struggled to capture mainstream attention. Sure, there were stars, but the league wasn't quite the household name it should have been. But things are changing, and Caitlin Clark is leading that charge. With Clark's emergence, the WNBA is seeing record viewership. Merchandise sales have skyrocketed by 500%, and attendance is through the roof. In fact, the Indiana Fever alone accounted for 45% of all WNBA broadcast value last season. Let that sink in. Nearly half of the entire league's viewership impact came from one team, and Clark was a huge part of that. Mitchell's decision to stay with the Fever wasn't just about loyalty, it was about the bigger picture. She's been through a lot with the Fever. She was drafted in 2018, and she played through some tough seasons, including coaching changes and a complete franchise rebuild. But now, with the Fever on the rise, Mitchell has chosen to stay, signalling a new chapter for the team. The Fever are no longer a struggling team. They're a team with a purpose, and Kelsey Mitchell's commitment proves that. Let's not forget about the impact of other players like Aaliyah Boston, one of the best young post players in the league. So what does this all mean for the future of the WNBA? The game is changing. And the rise of players like Clark and Mitchell is a big reason why. The league is gaining more mainstream attention, and its stars are finally getting the recognition they deserve. But here's the thing, not everyone is happy about it. The old guard, the veterans who built the foundation of the league, are struggling to accept that the spotlight is shifting. This kind of pushback isn't new. Every time a generational talent comes along, there's always resistance. But this time, things are different. The WNBA is finally breaking into the mainstream, and instead of celebrating the success of players like Clark, some are choosing to fight it. But they can't stop what's happening. The numbers don't lie. The WNBA is growing, and the Fever are leading the charge. Let's take a moment to look at the bigger picture. The rise of Caitlin Clark isn't just about her individual success, it's about how her success is benefiting the entire league. Women's basketball is gaining more fans, more sponsorships, and more recognition. But what's next for the Fever? They can't afford to rest on their laurels. They need to continue to build on this momentum. It's time for the Fever to get aggressive, whether that means exploring trades, making bold moves in the market, or continuing to strengthen their core players. The Fever have a chance to create something special, but they need the support of their fan base to push that message forward. So, what's your take? Is the rise of players like Caitlin Clark a threat to the old-school mindset in women's basketball, or is it exactly what the sport needs? The answers aren't clear-cut, but one thing is for sure. The future of the WNBA looks brighter than ever, and the Fever are leading the charge.